Hey, welcome to this week's Ask a Matchmaker episode. Before I call on my first guest, I got to talk to Matt Haze. Matt is the guy that helps edit my podcast, my producer, if you will. He's also the host of the Meet a Stranger podcast. Anyway, I just need a straight man perspective on these two text messages I received from two listeners, and Matt's available, and he's pretty funny. So,
hi, Maria.
You're going to join me on this one.
Great. I'm looking forward to this. Let's do it.
Okay, so I sent you the text messages.
You did. Did you want me to read these?
I do. Can you read the guy?
So I have to be the jerk? Okay, fine.
It'll help visualize. I mean, it was a guy. A guy sent it. All right.
This is crazy. All right.
Let's go.
Would you like to get together either tonight, Thursday, or Sunday night? She replies, Thursday works.
Wait. I'm going to say the woman.
Oh, you want to do? Okay, cool. I didn't know this was a double. All right, let's try this again. All right. Would you like to get together on either tonight, Thursday, or Sunday night?
Thursday works.
All right, cool. I do have one rule. Until we are intimate sexually, you pay for your stuff and I'll pay for mine. 50-50. Sound good? End of text.
That was the end of the text message. We gotta talk about it. We gotta unpack this. Like, I actually, when she sent me this, I asked her if she would introduce me to the guy that sent it to her. I was like, I want to talk to him on the podcast. What kind of sexual act do I need to do to get like a glass of wine? And some side order of fries.
You know, how many times do you get a week the message, the question, who pays? Does he pay? Do I pay? Does it together? This man finally answers the question a bit explicitly, but he actually gives the answer well before it even starts dating. So it's this kind of 50-50. I'm glad that I know this, but this opens up a whole other can of worms that we have to know about.
We gotta, okay, there's a lot to unpack here. All right, hold on. I do have one rule. So he asked her out, okay? Mm-hmm. I do have one rule. Until we are intimate sexually, you pay for your stuff and I'll pay for mine. This goes against a lot of things. So first of all, I just want to say, like, I don't think it's a bad idea to tell people if this is important to you, like, especially if you're young and you don't have a lot of money. I do have one rule. If it's okay with you, I'd like to do 50-50 on dates. And I would even start with, I have one rule. I would just say, hey, if it's okay with you, and women can say this, if it's okay with you, could we just do 50-50 as we get to know each other? Mm-hmm. That way it just gets rid of any confusion. Like, I accept that. Some people like that. I don't care. It's the qualifier at the end. You know, until we are intimate sexually. And I just feel like that goes against like animal kingdom rules. So just hear me out for a second, okay?
All right.
Again, I'm not a zoologist. I don't have a PhD in animal studies. But from what I know from Disney movies, specifically, when a lion is trying to like impress a lioness, he like gets her shit. He gets her flowers. He gets her gets her flowers. I'm picturing Simba like gathering flowers, but that's literally the image that's in me right now. So, you know, in the animal kingdom, you groom yourself, you do things to like attract the other sex. And I think in the human species, men try to come off as like the provider in order to attract a certain kind of person. Mm-hmm. And what this person has done is that it's like the opposite, which is like, we're going to do 50-50 bandwidth here. And only until we are intimate sexually will I do, like, it's like he's getting the reward of being in a relationship of 50-50 before he's shown I can also be a provider. What do you think, Matt?
I do want to know where that line is of what counts, and how do you even have that conversation with him, by the way, too? Because how often do you talk about that? If a man starts to talk about sexual items so early on, is kind of a turnoff. And this is this kind of line of, okay, I want to ask about that and know what that is, but we also don't really want to talk about it because I just kind of met you. It's a you put the woman in such a weird, unique situation at that point where it's just totally uncomfortable.
It's an immediate red flag. Like if you're online dating and a person, and I assume this is how they met, if you're online dating and the person immediately comments on your body and you're not interested in hooking up with them, like having just a hookup relationship, because that's a signal. That's a red flag, right? Because in no world does someone do that. Like, imagine now if this person, like, if you have to say this via text, then you wouldn't say it in person, right? Like, could you imagine if this person, like, let's pretend now we're at a friend's wedding and we're having a good time. You happen to be sitting next to me, hashtag singles table. Every wedding needs one. And I'm having a good time. And you say to me, would you like to get together? What? Hold up. I just realized. Would you like to together tonight? Thursday or Sunday night. Okay. And then imagine if I said yes, like I said, hey, like she said, Thursday works. Now, again, you're wearing a suit. I'm wearing a gown. We're at a friend's wedding. And then you tell me to my face, until we are intimate sexually, you pay for your stuff and I'll pay for mine.
I expect to have a drink thrown in my face instantly at that moment. Yeah.
Right? So, like, why are we hiding behind a text? And, like, if you know what, if I was able to get this man on my podcast, and my God, I really did try, okay? I would have immediately asked them, has this ever worked for you? And also, what kind of person are you hoping to attract with this?
You also noticed that he said tonight. So is he just assuming that this is he's not really looking for long-term at this point. This is kind of maybe laying out that maybe this is just going to be a hookup or something casual. And if this is what you want and this is what I want, then I'll pay if we're going to start doing this tonight then.
Intimate sexually. Like, I'm just wondering what her response would have been. Like,
did she respond? What I was going to ask.
She never responded. She screenshot and sent to me. So there's no responses. I don't know if another response happened. I would have never responded to this. I would have blocked this person.
Blocked and moved on, yeah.
Immediately. Like you said, like, if I'm going to throw a glass of wine in your face. And the thing is, if you did this at a wedding, like, the bride and groom would be proud of you. They would not be upset if you told them, like, here's what he said to me.
In today's day and age, do we not know yet that when we say something this ridiculous, it's going to get screenshot, it's going to be sent to a podcast, it's going to be put online. People are going to see what you said as it is anyway. There's going to be a paper trail. There are Facebook groups, there are TikTok channels that do nothing but talk about this. You say this publicly, you say this privately, it's going to be made public. It's going to come out anyway.
Could you imagine if they went to the movie theaters and he paid for her ticket? He would expect a blowjob. If she pays for him on the date, does that mean that she gets to sit on his face?
If it is the movie theater, how do you have that conversation when you're standing there at the ticket? Are you going down on me tonight? Yay or nay? Because I got to know, because I got to pay them right now. How does that work? That's a bit awkward conversation in that moment.
Do you want your popcorn buttered? All this to be contemplated while your paper straw withers during the movie.
$20, $30 worth of popcorn and drink at that point. And honestly, for the amount of money it costs to go to a movie, I kind of see his point a little bit, I think, at this point. It's not cheap anymore.
So I guess we'll just be streaming. I mean, really, like, at this point, it's like...
If you're Netflix and chilling, does it depend then whose Netflix account you use? How does that work at that point? Because you can't go Dutch on a Netflix account.
All right, I got another text message for you. I sent it to you. Do you have it?
Great, I got it.
All right, I'm going to be the girl.
All right, go ahead.
Because I am a girl. All right, I'm a woman, rather. I'm going to be the woman.
You be the woman. Be the woman that we all know and love.
Is it too personal to ask your last name for safety research purposes?
So you can stalk me before we've met? No thanks, babe. You're going to have a rough go doing things like this. Okay, so one last chance here. Just in case, even though I'm fairly certain what the answer will be, would you like to meet me at a hotel this evening? I'll make love to you. Then we'll get to know each other and decide if we'd like to see each other again.
Again, I really wish I could get this man on my podcast. So listen, ladies, I'm going to go to the conclusion before we dissect this text message. But ladies and men, if you're getting these insane text messages, I need you to tell them Maria would love to have you as a guest on our podcast to talk about this text message. I am dying to know if this works. I mean, clearly he's not looking for a serious relationship, right? He's just looking for someone to have sex with at a hotel. But why does it have to be a hotel? Is it because he's married? Why are we involving a hotel now?
The moment he brings her back to his place, it opens up a whole different level of intimacy. A hotel is still anonymous in a way. It's a neutral location. So no matter what happens, you can either get out clean and walk away and be done with it, or you spend the night and you have fun with it. If it's at your place, that she can, especially since she was asking about what his last name is and all, she could be snooping through his medicine cabinet. He's probably thinking in his head at that point.
I mean, as you were talking, I was literally thinking about like people that have been killed through online dating have been put in these unsafe situations. Like, how do you know this person isn't going to argue and isn't going to kill you, hurt you, whatever? Like,
right.
It's such a recipe for assault. And I don't think, like, the proper response here is to give a last name. And honestly, I would even go so far to give a LinkedIn link.
Yeah.
Like, look, I am a member of society.
This is my employer. In the
this
event,
is my employer.
Yeah.
In an event that I sexually assault you, you have permission to get me fired.
Yeah.
And that is the standard I think we should be asking for. Like, also, like, look, I don't believe in Googling before a first date. Like, if you're meeting in public, right? Mm-hmm. So now I guess I'm just confused. Like, I understand why she wants a last name for safety and research purposes. That's a lot. Like, you can learn a lot about someone Googling, and that's like really frightening because I wouldn't, like, people come with a bias.
You already have their history, and the questions that person's going to be asking at that point then too come with that bias, that they're not going to be asking very inquisitive questions. They're not going to be coming at it from a curious standpoint. It might be a judgmental standpoint because I read this thing that you said online on your Facebook page 6 weeks ago. I want to know about that because that's going to bother me. You're not actually getting to know the person.
How was your MBA at Rutgers University in 2009?
Yeah. Did you actually graduate? I called Rutgers to double check to make sure that you actually did, by the way.
Hashtag go Knights.
I actually had a situation once where met someone at a bar and her friend was with her and her friend was trying to hook up with someone there. And we both went our separate ways and we all exchanged phone numbers purely from a safety standpoint of, okay, I'm taking her back with me. I'm going to give her friend my phone number just in case. She had my address, knew where I was. I knew the guy that she was going home with. I knew that where he's at, and he has two brothers that I know as well. So we added this extra level of security just to make everybody feel safe, and it made all the difference.
To me, it's the audacity
to even ask.
These questions. Yeah. Like both men. I wish I had that kind of confidence. That's a lot of audacity. That's like unearned audacity too. If
for some reason she decided to go through with that, I hope she wouldn't from what we're reading there and all, that is an extremely high bar he even set for himself to have to even meet at this point of, look how great I am. I'm going to set up a hotel for you. You're going to come on by and then we can make the decision. Then we can make the decision whether we should see each other again or not. Maybe you should make that before you go to the hotel room. Why are you going to make it right after that? What is the fantasy
here? I guess that's what I'm wondering, right? Because like so many people to have sex, even if it's just a one-night stand, there needs to be some sort of emotional connection for some people, not all people, but for a lot of people to have, like for it to be enjoyable experience. What the hell am I trying to say? To be
pleasurable.
Enjoyable. To be what?
Yeah. Pleasureful. Sure. I'm just trying to figure out like what's the fantasy here? Like you're going to come over, okay, and then what happens? Like I feel like it's like, do you expect her to come in a trench coat? What is she wearing? Are you taking a shower together? Like just so many questions of like how does that scene play out for you and how much game do you think it's going to be? Because to me, it's like if I went to a hotel to meet a stranger, I would be very nervous from the whole experience. Like he tells me, okay, go to room 612. Okay, so I'm in the elevator and I think I would be panicking. Like my heart would be outside of my body. I'd be having an out of body experience. And then if it's hard for me to picture this because I don't see myself doing this, but like you're knocking on a stranger's door, someone who has invited you over, who has not given you a last name. And let me tell you, that last name, it does make a difference in this sort of situation. And so you knock on the door and then he opens it. And then what? What, he's going to go straight into kissing you? No, you're going to have an awkward like dance. You're going to watch like maybe an episode of Family Feud, I guess. Like you're not going to go straight into like fucking. There's no foreplay, and any foreplay that you do is not anything that's being built up or anything.
And it's not even emotional foreplay or intellectual foreplay.
Right. Like his text message doesn't even build up anything to make you want to be excited to come up there. It's just come on over and then that's it. It doesn't work that way.
It's so weird. I can smell this guy.
What does he smell like? Describe it.
He smells like people who I don't know, skateboard in Oregon. I can't explain it. Someone
not
knows what I'm
not
talking about.
skateboarders in Washington Park, Oregon. The other side of not the far part, Oregon. Those Portland people.
Keep Portland weird.
By the way, dear fellow men, can you look at this and understand your words matter? The what you say, not just not because we're going to make it public.
These text messages and then people could screenshot. Like, it's one thing to send these text messages when we had like T9 flip phones and you had to bring a digital camera to take a photo of what's being sent to you.
Yeah,
like, you screenshot this and then you send it to me on the internet.
And she's quite popular, by the way. A lot of people are going to be seeing what you said. The words we say to women matter. We can build up a rapport and a connection, and women want that. This is not what they want. Why has it become so difficult?
This is the verbal equivalent of a dick pic.
And it's just as embarrassing. It's actually more embarrassing, I think, than the actual picture itself.
You know what the worst part is? Is that I know what they look like, and I have their first names.
You don't have their dick pics, do you?
I don't have their dick pics,
okay.
But, like, I wish I had their LinkedIns.
By the way, I'm sure the photos they would take of that would not be that impressive as it is anyway. Because if you think you have this type of game and all that, I highly doubt you actually have it too. There is no way that they can match the amount of game that they've built up with what they're saying in these words. No way.
In my mind, and trying to picture this, right? If I had the balls, and I don't have the balls, but let's say if I had the low risk assessment. And I decided to head over to the hotel to meet this complete stranger who won't give him his last name for, like, I don't know, sex. And the first 2 hours don't include me writing his face, then he has no game. That's the only way to sell it, right? If it's just about you busting a nut, what has my podcast turned into? Because there's no guarantee here, right?
Right. She's not guaranteed to get off at the situation in any way, shape, or form. And he hasn't done anything to either show that he has the game to be able to do it. It's just, hi, you're going to come over. I'm going to get off. That's it.
You know what's funny is, I once hooked up with one of my cousin's friends. It was like after her birthday party, whatever, right? And I was like, okay, we have a mutual connection, obviously. Like, this is like her former classmate. He'd been close enough that she invited him to her birthday party, right? He kind of like talked a big game on the way to his house. But then it was so like one-sided. When he finished, I thought, okay, my turn. Like, he's going to get me off. Like, right? You know, we have
it's only fair.
Well, forget it's only fair. We have a few mutual people between us. Like, I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell on you. Anyway, he didn't. He like literally got up, went to the kitchen and started eating like soup, like garbanzo bean soup. And so I got up from the bed and I went to the kitchen. I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm hungry." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we're not done."
There's something else for you to eat. What are you doing?
And he's like, "Well, I'm done." And I'm like, I just like blanked it, like literally looking at him blank. I was like, yeah, I'm not done. Like, you didn't. And he just kept looking at me like, "Okay, when are you leaving?" And I was like, whoa. You know, the next day at the beach, I told every single person from the birthday party, I was like, "Let me tell you what happened yesterday." And so this day, you know what we call him? We call him Garbanzo Bean.
Is he married? Now,
so
or do you know?
I would actually find out later on that he was married and cheating on his wife. I found out the next day at the beach. They were like, "Wait, you hooked up with him?" And I go, "Yeah." They're like, "He's married." And I'm like, nobody told me that.
Did he bring you back to their house?
From what I've gathered, the house that we were at was his parents, but I didn't.
Oh God.
Like, I didn't realize that. Like, I didn't see any photos, so how could I have known?
Right.
You know, he lived in a different city in Europe, and he had come down for my cousin's birthday.
Oh, so were the people in the room getting the vibe and feel that was going to happen at the end of the party? No, okay.
I was really.
So they couldn't have stopped you or anything.
No. We were both pretty discreet because I'm a discreet person, and we left separately, but then got on the same cab. So, and then the next day at the beach, I was like, "Let me tell you about my last night," like in sharing. And then they were like, "Wait, he's married, and also, what about the soup?" And the garbanzo beans and soup in Greek is called revithi, so we call him revithi since then.
I was assuming that he was single before the story, but I was going to say
No.
that's one of those lines that, like, the best man would put in the best man speech. Just throw a line in about soup just to see who in the room, or if he would actually recognize it. About, you remember that one time at that party and you had some soup after the party or something? Wasn't that a great time?
No,
Bride has no clue about it.
I've never seen him again, but I also I don't go to any more birthday parties.
I don't go to birthday parties, and I don't have that soup anymore. So
I don't.
It's just
You
too
know
bad.
what? I didn't eat that soup for like 5 years. I was like, that's like a pretty big deal because that's like a staple in the Greek diet.
Do you still think
So-
about it when you see the soup?
Every time.
Yeah.
Every single time. And I've told this story to my husband, so he like always laughs. He's like, "Oh, we're having gravithia today." And I'm like, "Oh, yes. What a
Thanks,
poor
George.
sexual experience that this was." Matt, thank you so much for coming on the Ask a Matchmaker podcast to talk about how weird men are. And again, I want to reiterate, if you, a woman, receives another text message like this, I need you to immediately respond. Matchmaker Marie would love to have you on your podcast to talk about this particular text message that you just sent me. I need to talk to you and understand why you send these messages. Thanks again, Matt. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Matt Haze, and Meet a Stranger next series starts this week. So you can find that on any podcast app that you listen to.
Thanks for coming on.